At the bottom of the world lies a land forged by ice and fire, Patagonia, a realm of breathtaking desolation where the wind never stops telling stories. For centuries, it has been known as the edge of the world. But to the first Europeans who dared to venture here, it was something else entirely, the land of giants. It's a story most of us have dismissed as folklore, a fantastical tale spun by sailors with vivid imaginations. But what if it wasn't? What if, hidden within the myth, lies a kernel of truth so profound it could rewrite a chapter of human history? New science is now probing this 500-year-old legend, and the results are forcing us to question everything we thought we knew. The story of the Patagonian giants is no longer just a myth, it's a cold case, and the bones are finally starting to talk. The year is 1520. Ferdinand Magellan's fleet, battered by storms, finds refuge in a natural harbor on the coast of what is now Argentina. His chronicler, Antonio Pigafetta, documents their journey with meticulous detail. It is in his journal that the legend is born. He describes a tense first encounter with a native of this strange land. The man, he wrote, was so tall that we only came up to his waist. Soon more appeared. Pigafetta claimed they were giants, calling them the Patagones, or big-footed people. The tale spread across Europe like wildfire. Maps of the New World were soon decorated with images of colossal men roaming the southern continent. For an age gripped by discovery, the idea of giants living at the world's end was not just believable, it was intoxicating. But as more ships sailed south, the myth began to crumble. Later expeditions found no towering figures. They encountered the indigenous Tehuelche people, who were indeed tall, often standing over 6 feet, a significant height compared to the average 16th century European, but they were nowhere near the giants of Pigafetta's account. Skepticism took hold. The Patagonian giants were reclassified from fact to fable, dismissed as the product of sailors' exaggerations, cultural misunderstandings, or the simple desire for a good story. For centuries, the case seemed closed. But the legend refused to disappear entirely. It lingered in the background of scientific inquiry, fueled by tantalizing clues unearthed from the region's desolate caves. Archaeologists excavating burial sites across Patagonia and Tierra del Fuego occasionally found human remains that were unusual. Femurs that were strikingly long. Jaws that were massive. Skeletons that, while not monstrous, were consistently at the extreme upper end of human height and robustity. These finds posed a nagging question. Were these just isolated tall individuals, or were they evidence of a population genetically predisposed to larger size? The bones hinted at an answer, but they couldn't speak. For that, science needed a new language. That language arrived with the advent of ancient DNA analysis. This revolutionary technology allows scientists to extract and sequence genetic material from remains that are thousands of years old. DNA is a fragile molecule, quickly breaking down in warm, wet conditions. But Patagonia's caves, with their cold, dry air, acted as natural refrigerators, preserving microscopic fragments of genetic code within the dense enamel of teeth and the core of bones. A team of international researchers began a systematic collection of samples from ancient burial sites across the region. Each tooth, each bone fragment was a potential key. By grinding down small samples into a fine powder and using sophisticated sequencing techniques, they could resurrect entire genetic blueprints. For the first time, the question of the Patagonian giants could be moved from the realm of history and folklore into the world of hard data. The goal was to build a genetic profile of the earliest inhabitants of this land and see what secrets their DNA held. They weren't searching for monsters. They were searching for the truth behind the myth. The first wave of results was fascinating. The DNA confirmed that the first people to reach Patagonia were descendants of the populations who had migrated south after crossing the Bering Strait. But something was different. Once they reached this southern frontier, it appears they became almost completely isolated. Their DNA carried a unique signature, distinct from other indigenous groups in South America. For thousands of years, this population evolved in near total isolation, shaped by one of the most extreme environments on Earth. This genetic drift is crucial. When a population is cut off, unique traits can become common, creating a people who look and function differently from their distant relatives. Then came the discovery that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Within the ancient DNA, researchers identified a cluster of specific genetic variants. These weren't random markers, they were directly linked to human growth and development. The sequences showed a high frequency of genes associated with increased stature, greater bone density, and robust skeletal frames. The picture that emerged was astonishing. These were not the mythical 12-foot giants of legend. They were a population of Homo sapiens who, due to a unique combination of genetic inheritance and adaptation to their environment, were on average significantly taller, broader, and more powerfully built than any people Europeans had ever encountered. Men routinely standing 6.5 feet tall with thick bones and frames honed by a life of hunting massive Ice Age animals like the giant ground sloth would have seemed like a different species to sailors who averaged a foot shorter. Pigafetta's claim of reaching their waists was hyperbole, born of shock. But the shock itself was genuine. The explorers hadn't been lying, merely translating a profound real-world encounter into the language of myth. Further analysis painted an even clearer picture. Chemical isotopes from the bones revealed a diet extremely high in protein from hunting guanacos and consuming marine life. This nutrient-rich diet would have allowed them to reach their maximum height potential generation after generation. Their size wasn't an anomaly. It was a biological signature of their success at the edge of the world. Some scientists now speculate that they may even represent a ghost lineage, a branch of early Americans that survived in isolation, preserving genetic traits that were lost elsewhere. The revelation of the Patagonian people does more than solve a 500-year-old mystery. It forces us to rethink the history of the Americas. The settlement of the continent was not a simple, linear story. Instead, it was a complex tapestry of diverse groups who settled in remote corners and adapted in unique ways. The giants of Patagonia are a testament to the incredible plasticity of the human form. This discovery also holds profound cultural significance. For the modern-day descendants of the Twelche and other indigenous groups in Patagonia, this is not a story about monsters. It's about validation. Their ancestors, who were caricatured in European fables, are now being recognized by science for what they truly were, a uniquely adapted and resilient people who thrived for millennia in one of the planet's most unforgiving landscapes. The science is reclaiming a narrative that was distorted for centuries. The story of the Patagonian giants is a powerful reminder that myth is often a distorted echo of truth. It is a memory of a real encounter passed down through generations, magnified by awe and the vast distances of time. Today, the wind still sweeps across the plains of Patagonia, carrying with it the whispers of the past. But they are no longer just whispers of giants. They are the whispers of a people rediscovered, a people who for a brief moment in history stood at the edge of the known world and left an impression so profound it became the stuff of legend. Science has not killed the myth. It has given it a human face, and in doing so, it has revealed a story far more incredible than any fable.